Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here, author in the headlights, and I thank you for joining us today. And before we get too far in, those of you that have not already subscribed, if you do so, hit that button down there and you won't miss a single episode. Today, this morning, we have the joy of meeting with Karen Smith of Hen House Books and an author herself. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, as I said, you're both an author and an editor, a publisher, those kind of things. Let's go right into your books because that's the exciting part we like to hear. Since Author in the Headlights is for readers and writers, we'll start off with the readers today.
Okay.
So you've got multiple books out there. What genre are you in, or write mostly in?
I write in fantasy, romance, and westerns.
All right, you cover the board. That's good. Because you spread your field there and you pick up people from all over the place and they find you as an author they like and they'll pick up more of your books. So, okay, tell us about some of what you're writing.
Okay. Well, I'm currently working on a western. Um, and this is, I was hired to write for 008 Studios, and they do give me authorial credit in the books that they're publishing with, that I have written, that I'm writing for them. This one, it's fun. Westerns, I grew up on them. My mother had me reading Zane Grey as a child.
You're here.
You know, I I watched John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and John Ford growing up. So, it's always been in the back of my mind, the Westerns. And several years ago, I was editing for another author who writes Westerns. His name is Russ Town. And he said, Karen, how do you feel about going together on a project? And it's like, sounds like fun. So we did. And it really was a whole lot of fun. So that kind of got me started writing Westerns. After that, I published a small collection of short stories, more Westerns. And then lately, I published a Western called The Bounty. And this follows the story of a bounty hunter named Emmett Hallelujah Jones. So it was a joy to write. And I am so pleased that they asked me to write the sequel to it. And it's going along rather well. I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoy the Western too, having done a lot of both writing itself and writing of um, my books. Stone started out Old West and kind of
Mhm.
moves forward from there. So it's it's fun to write of a different era where you've got all those key elements that people enjoy hearing and reading about, as well as the people that really do take part in the West and ride a lot or have horses and or just enjoy the whole thought of it.
Yeah. I do have horses.
Now, does your romance go a little bit that way too, or did it come off of there? How does your romance work?
I started out writing fantasy. And my fantasy tends to have strong romantic elements in it. And my first books that I published for myself were, I guess they would fall under paranormal romance now, or sort of an urban paranormal romance, because they take place in the present day. And those were, at the time, I considered them cross genre. They just sort of spanned, fantasy, and they
Sure.
spanned romance. And I soon learned that paranormal romance was a thing. And I just kept on writing it because I found books in the same subgenre of romance, because romance covers everything. It really does.
It does.
Whether they'll admit it or not, everybody likes a good romance. That that little romantic spark at the end, that it's
Hey,
you got a
I
strong
understand.
relationship.
I end up watching a lot of Hallmark movies because, well, that's my wife and I sit and do.
My dad used to do that. Um, in the few years before he died, he started watching the Hallmark Channel.
And is it a
And
simple plot? Maybe you can,
oh,
pick out the same one, cookie cutter kind of thing,
mhm.
but it's enjoyable way just to spend some time together.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Dad was funny. He was the last person you'd ever expect to watch a romantic movie. And he had it down to the minute. It's like he says, okay, it's 2 minutes to the end, they're gonna
It's
kiss.
true.
By golly,
It's
that's what
true.
happened.
What about in-house books? Now, in-house publishing. How
Mhm.
did that come about, and what do you offer to people there?
Well, with Hen House Publishing, I originally started the company with the intention of becoming a traditional publisher. That didn't happen. But the name, I had the name, so I kept it. Anyway, what I do for the most part is I help authors on their publishing journey. So I offer ghostwriting, editing, book design, and proofreading. I do not publish their books. However, if a client needs assistance with the upload process, I'm happy to help them with that.
Mm-hmm. So you can help somebody work their book through, help them with the content overview on it, your design and formatting once they get down to editing, of course, and every writer needs to have multiple editing done to it in different ways and different.
Oh yeah.
What do you find that these writers need most when people come to you? What do you, what are you used as most? How's that?
I am, it seems to be cyclical, actually. Um, I've got some clients I just brought on who are using me to do manuscript critiques. Yeah, so like I said, it's kind of cyclical. Those are, the latest batch of clients. I'll go through a time just a few months ago where I had people hiring me for book design. So, and what I have to emphasize here is I design for print. I do not do ebooks. That's not my forte.
Okay. And
Um,
there is differences in that.
there are huge differences in that. I help them with writing the back cover blurbs. We
And that's
got
important. That really is. That's
uh,
for
um,
advertising. It's the
yes,
cover and the back that sell the book for that
right.
reason.
Those are your two most important pieces of marketing right there, your cover and your back cover blurb. The
Hmm.
cover's the thing that grabs attention. That grabs the eyeballs. But when they read the back cover blurb, if that doesn't intrigue, a potential buyer,
Hmm.
then it's not doing its job. So I've helped them with that. Um, and I've had I would say most of my clients overall tend to be for editing.
Hmm.
I've had a lot of those, and I edit both fiction and nonfiction. So the nonfiction runs from things like blogs, um, for on myriad topics, to memoirs, and the nonfiction pretty much spans the fiction. I'm sorry, fiction spans pretty much the gamut of fiction genres. I do not do horror. It gives me nightmares. Can't do it. For one gentleman, I did a couple of screenplay to novel adaptations. Uh, those were really interesting because you basically you have the story in that screenplay. You have the dialogue, but it's not all the dialogue you need. And you have to add in a description and action, and you have to expand upon the plot.
It
So
is very
there are a lot of,
different writing, very different kind of writing
yeah.
entirely.
So it's screenwriting and novel writing are similar, but as well very different.
Hmm.
When you're adapting a screenplay to a novel, there's a whole lot of blanks, that you have to fill in so that when people are reading it, they can imagine it.
True. Because by camera, the camera gives you half of what the words would say, but you don't say it in the words, you say it in the picture form. So you have to
Right.
take that picture and put it into word form.
Right. Right. That's a good way to put it.
So what do you have next? You're writing still?
I am writing still. I'm as far as writing is concerned, my own stuff, I'm in a bit of a lull. I tend to go through you can like manic depressive phases. I'm in the depressive phase right now. I do have a manuscript in the works. It's been going very, very slowly, and it will be the last story in my Twin Moon saga.
Twin Moon Saga. Okay.
Mhm.
And what genre is it? Tell us
That
about
one is primarily fantasy.
it. Okay.
Once again, there are strong romantic elements in there. So
That's good. That's good. Good catch.
so yeah, so there are that one. I've got a couple of stories in the kind of like on my brain's back burner for my science fiction romance series, the Triune Brides Alliance. And there's another one that's been stuck into cold storage, which would be a sequel to my biker romance.
Biker romance. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
There's almost a whole genre of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's I I write in the genres or the subgenres that I like to read.
that's good. And your books will be available on DurhamandPublishing.com, the bookstore there. And in-house publishing is part of our authors resources page at DurhamandPublishing.com. So you writers out there, if you need some assistance, you need some content editing, page, all those things that she does, then contact her there on our authors resources page at germanpublishing.com. Now, I do know that you don't write under your real name. You have a pen name,
I do. Oh
and
yeah.
it's Holly Bargo.
There's a story behind that.
There's a story behind that. There's always a story behind a pen.
Hmm. Yes. Holly Bargo is the registered name of a horse I had many years ago. Back in the days before the internet, when you went house hunting, you would go to an open house, the realtor would be there, and the realtor would have you sign your name and put
Mhm.
in your phone number into, this on a sheet so they could contact you later to try to sell you a house. Well, I was house hunting, but I didn't care to be contacted by every realtor at every house I went to look at. So I started using my horse's name and the phone number for the stable where I boarded her. And then when I started publishing my work, to be brutally frank, my family was embarrassed by what I wrote. So I used Holly Bargo as my alter ego.
I can understand that too. Yep. All right. So Karen S. Smith writes as Holly Bargo, and you
Yep.
can find her work under Holly Bargo. I said, we'll have your books on DurhamandPublishing.com so people can find it there, or they can look you up separately, either like Amazon or HarleyBargoBooks.com, correct?
Yes.
All right. I want to thank you for spending some time with us today. It took us a while to get here. We've had you on our authors resources page for a while, but we finally get to do a face-to-face. So I want to say thank you, Karen.
Well, thank you again. I do appreciate the chat.
And when your next work comes out, get a hold of me. We'll make sure we get that included. Maybe have to have you back.
Will do. Will do.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And for the rest of you, thank you for spending your day with us here at Author in the Headlights. And until next time, sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com.